Hey, how you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. For those of you who are confused, there's an illness in Kelsey's family, so he's not going to be able to make it tonight. So, he said he'd keep me posted, and it seems like it's just not going to happen tonight with Kelsey. So I'm sorry about that. I also, delayed. Oh. Wow. Let me fix that. Hello. I'm sorry about that. It was really trippy. Okay. How's it sound? How's it look? How's it sound? I'll start all over again. Good afternoon, good evening, good, whatever it is. This is one beard, one comic. There's an illness in Kelsey's family. It's his story to tell. It's not my story to give out his details. But he's been keeping me posted all day long, and it just looks like he's not going to be able to come today. Since I already delayed for a week, I thought I would go ahead and go tonight anyway. So it's one beard, one comic. I put the link here if anybody would like to join us and join me and talk about this wonderful comic. This is Jonah Hex Spectacular #1. Oh my God, is this comic amazing? Maybe Kelsey will read it someday, but it is a comic that should be read by everybody. It is so freaking good. We got Marcus here. Hey Marcus, how does it sound? I do like a Frankenstein contraption. I use my Bluetooth speakers, hook it up to my phone, and then mute everything. But sometimes it fails to connect and it makes crazy sounds. So just let me know how everything sounds. And if anybody wants to pop in, the link is in the description. And I would be remiss in my duty if I didn't show this by let me put this link in the chat. This is for my comic. This is Heroic Tales. Big news on Heroic Tales. Heroic Tales #2 will have a couple of pages written by Don Chin of amazing radioactive adolescent black belt hamsters. That fame, and he also did he does a parody press. It's not a parody. It's something else. It's funny. So, I sound okay now. Was it wonky for a while? So big news. Number 2 is chugging along. Number 2 is chugging along, and we even have some character sketches designed for issue 3 of Heroic Tales. So I might as well share my campaign page. I shared the wrong thing, of course, or did I? I always share the wrong thing. There we go. How's that? We're at 164 backers. Thank you, everybody. And almost at the third stretch goal, almost at $5,000. I can't just rave about this month. I can't wait for this to be in your hands. Everybody tell me how much you love it. I had requests to make this a cover instead of the back cover. So when we go to Kickstarter, that'll be a tier if you want to get this as the cover. And I guess this will be the back cover, the reverse comic book. And then a couple of people asked me for black and white editions. So I don't know if people want it. Why not? Right? I could do a black and white edition. I just would have to get it re-lettered, because I'm doing the letters after the colors. So we'll see. All right. Let's do this. There we go. So we got 13 people watching. Anybody want to pop in? Anybody want to comment with me? Anybody want to join me talking? And Bueller, let's get going. Okay, so first let me take a sip. I'm out of coffee. I am out of coffee tonight. So this is the difference between me without coffee and every other stream is me with coffee. So this is John with no caffeine. How's that? No caffeine. All right, let's go. I'm just joking around. All right, well, I'm serious. I got no caffeine. So this is Jonah Hex Spectacular. And what does it say here? It says 30-page Jonah Hex action saga plus Batlash and Scalp Hunter in their own stories. Just a great comic. $1, no ads. What a freaking deal. So look at this cover here by Lopez, Jose Garcia Lopez. Why I'm spacing because there's no caffeine flowing through my veins. We got this. Just look at this. Oh God. The double page posters continue on the inside. I love this. So let's look at the Indicia. What year is this? Published 1978. So if you've been following my channel for a while, you know how I made a big deal that I wasn't into DC Comics and pretty much until the 80s. You know, I got Legion of Superheroes, the Jim Shooter Legion of Superheroes, and I got the Marv Wolfman, George Perez, New Teen Titans. But that was about it as far as DC went. Since I started talking to Chuck Dixon, he didn't tell me. He just says this to anybody who listens, that the DC the DC War Comics and the DC Western Comics were some of the best comics ever made. And as a kid, I was not interested in war comics. I was not interested in Western comics for the simple reason movies and TV did Westerns and cowboys better than comics because they didn't need special effects. Anything that you could do in a comic, you could do in a TV show, you know, whatever. Like superheroes with laser beams and flying through space, stuff like that. Special effects didn't make it until recently. So I got my fix of Westerns and war through TV. So needless to say, I picked this up because I always liked Jonah Hex, even though I wasn't into Western comics. And here we have, this is Jonah Hex as an older man. So we got Jonah. He's old. He's got glasses on. He's lost weight, and he's following people. He's acting as a scout. He's scouting out another tribe of. He's a mercenary, so he's going after these horse thieves. Oh man, just look at this. Every Western trope. We got the horse. We got the desert, the mountains over here. Just. Oh, who's the artist? I didn't even go over the script yet. So, you know, I'm missing Kelsey. This would have been so much better with Kelsey. So Michael Fleischer. Okay, just after I read this comic, I am now actively looking for any Michael Fleischer comics. Art, Russ Heath. Russ Heath, what do I have to say? Russ Heath is a legend. At this point, he's a living legend. Russ Heath loves his Westerns. He did EC Comics. He did the Warren magazines. I don't know how much DC and Marvel he did. I don't even know if he ever did Marvel. Lettering by Ben Oda, coloring by Bob LaRose, and editor Larry Hama. So you know it's good when Larry Hama is editing it. So he's going after these guys for a bounty. It's 1904. It's still 1904 is a strange time to be alive. Lord knows how much I made it. Lord only knows how an ornery cuss like me ever managed to be in 66 years old. 66 years old. So this is old man Jonah, you know, and he's using some stealth. He's not going in guns a-blazing and fighting these guys. He's slowing down a bit. So what's he doing? He's picking them off one by one, kind of the way Batman should, if you ask me. So one guy got the rope, one guy's getting stabbed, and then, you know, Jonah. What did Jonah do? He took off his clothes, his hat, and he made a fire. And he put it elsewhere so they would be tricked. And here he is in his long johns, and they're like, "What's going on? What's going on?" And here's Jonah. He goes, I guess two of them he could take out. So he takes the guns, bomb, takes them. You're getting slow, Jonah. Damn slow. He got shot in the arm, and here he is coming back to town. You know, going to get the bounty on all of these owl hoots. They're wrangling owl hoots. Artwork, just phenomenal. Now, I'm a big fan of Russ Heath. Russ Heath to me is like a superb draftsman, but I don't find him to be flashy. I don't find him to be like extravagant. You know, all the stuff that I guess like kids today in their video games and their Fortnites and stuff would be impressed with. I just find him to be just like a classic master draftsman. Just look at all this. Guy getting out of the chair, and like look at this panel over here. The guy getting out of the chair. That guy has weight. You could imagine that chair crumbling under the weight. Just everything about it is just it's not flashy. There's no laser beams. There's no dragons. It's just a guy getting out of a chair, and it's believable. It's like a still frame from a movie. They're talking. No, there's no backgrounds. They don't need no stinking backgrounds. I wonder if he was slow. If he was fast or if he was slow. And now they're, that's right. Hank told some awful stories about you, Mr. So the old guy, the sheriff, the police, he wants to just pay Jonah and have Jonah get out of town because there's trouble. Whenever Jonah shows up, there's trouble. And the young deputy, Marshall is like, Hank's told us some awful stories about you, Mr. Hex. To hear him tell it, you were really something back in the old 1870s. Because these are the 1900s. We're living in old man. We're modern police now. We don't have freelance bounty hunters roaming. Better take it. And Jonah ain't having any of that. Why you don't pay any attention to Ernie? He goes, so long, Hank. It's like you let him hit me. He goes, what are you gonna do? You gonna kill Jonah Hex? That guy may be old and wearing spectacles, but he'll still take you out. And he goes, no, he goes, the world is gone. We know it's gone now. I know it too. He knows it too. He knows he's a walking dead man. God don't make men like Jonah Hex anymore. Just leave him be. Little foreshadowing over there. So, he's taking his money and he's going to buy needed supplies. And who does he meet? A writer, a pathetic, horrible, disgusting snail trail writer. This guy is coming out west to look for people like Jonah Hex to write stories of the old west about. Jonah Hex ain't hearing any. That's one of the things I love about Jonah Hex is you don't want to hear it from anybody. He would be living in the woods by himself if he didn't need food. You know what I mean? Like no man is an island. He has to go out and do stuff. There's things that he needs that he can't provide for himself. So this guy is just like, please, I traveled 2,000 miles. I want to write a book about you. He goes, don't be using the word history around me. History is what's dead. And I sure ain't dead yet. I ain't even close. So he's just like, I don't write a book about me when I'm dead. I'm still alive. I still got a story to tell. So he's using words to persuade him. Oh, I love this comment. What Marcus just said. The storytelling is so clear. Yeah. It's absolutely clear. Like again, this is a master. And I say this a lot. Who did I say this to? And they got confused, and I could tell they were getting a little like angry because they didn't understand the way I'm talking about. But storytelling is the way the art tells the story. I know when you and your buddies talk around, oh, that guy's a good storyteller, meaning he literally tells a story. But in comics, storytelling is how does the art. If I removed all of these word balloons, would you still get the gist of the story? And I would have to say yes. Maybe you don't know this is a writer. You think he's a pest or something like that. But he is a pest. So he's talking, and Jonah, for whatever reason, Jonah starts to warm up to this guy, and he comes to Jonah's little log cabin, little slice of paradise in the woods. And look at that. Jonah's an ugly SOB, and nobody gets the ladies like Jonah Hex. If you read Jonah Hex, wham. The only other person who gets the ladies like Jonah Hex is like Daredevil. I'm trying to think of like mainstream comic book characters that are just loving the ladies. He's just ugly and tough and irresistible to the ladies. And here he is. He's got an Indian woman. There's a value to the 6-page panel. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. And that's just it. This comic isn't just a cookie cut. Every page isn't just a cookie cutter. There's different layout. Although these two have the same layout. But so Jonah meets his wife, an Indian squaw. Am I allowed to say squaw? Am I allowed to? Am I going to get canceled now? And she can't wait to see him because Jonah's been gone for like a week or two. Going after this bounty. And I just love the storytelling in this. What are they going to do? What are they going to do? And look at the guy like leaning away. He knows it's just not. He's infringing on Jonah's time. And then Look at him. He's living a life over here. He's whittling, smoking. He's got his beautiful young Indian woman at his feet. And now he's telling stories to the writer, and he's telling all about Jonah's life. I can't say Indian. I don't know. I can't keep track of anything anymore. So Jonah's telling his life. So I might as well fill in a little detail about Jonah's life. Jonah, was a little kid. His father was a drunk. I don't know if they ever mentioned who Jonah's mother is. I'm sure there's a story that I didn't read about Jonah's mother, but Jonah's father sold Jonah to an Indian as a slave for booze. So that, Jonah was like 12 years old, and his father, Jonah was like, Dad, what do we do? So he leaves, and then they treated Jonah like a piece of dirt. He's the other. He's a white man living with all the red men, and they beat him. They treat him like crap. He's a slave. I don't have to explain how slaves live. He's an animal. And the chief is in danger. Jonah jumps up and saves the chief. Right after the chief's son didn't do anything, he froze. So he killed a tiger. Here it is, right here. Jonah jumped up and killed the tiger, and now the chief adopted him as his second son, and that just caused jealousy. The first son, the Indian son, framed Jonah. Jonah got beat and framed, and then as punishment, they made Jonah they set it up so that it looked like Jonah stole some horses. You see, here's the horses over here. And then they tied Jonah up, and they took an axe, and they heated up the axe, and they scarred up his face. So that's why Jonah has the horrific, coolest scars in all of comic books. And then Jonah, fought his way out, beat the crap out of him, killed everybody. Oh, that's right. The Indian girl that the oldest son liked Jonah. Jonah wins her over, so they had to kill her. It was just a tragic life. And then he just gets away from it all and joins the Confederate Army, fights for the Confederacy, and then they lose the war, and he just basically becomes a Ronin, roaming the South and the West and the Southwest, South, West, and Southwest as a hired bounty hunter. And that is the origin of Jonah Hex. So he's telling all of the stories to the writer. I love this panel. Tell me that's not a great panel right there. That is just awesome. So now he's taken the writer to do all the things that Jonah does. He's showing him how to shoot, showing him how to hunt, showing that he's not just a storyteller. It's all true. The slave, but Jonah isn't a person of color. White's not a color? I thought white was a color. It's funny. The rules keep changing. I hate POC. POC just means anybody but white. That's you don't need that term. Anybody but white. Just say we don't like white people then. When anybody says POC, that's what that says to me. I don't like white people. And that's fine if you don't like white people. You know what I mean? Can't make you like people. On my way to someplace, but have a blessed day. Zacham I picture the Pope in a Pope mobile, just comes by, sprinkles some holy water on us as he drives by in the Pope mobile. White is not the absence of color. Black is the absence of color. White is all the colors. If you break up white light in a prism, it's all the colors. Black is the absence of color. So there you go. So white is all the colors. Black is all the colors in paint, but literally radiant light, white light. You put white light into a prism, and it's all the colors of the rainbow. So there you go. So now they're hunting, and he's shooting, and Jonah hears something. We got traveling guy over here. And what does this guy want to do? He wants to hire Jonah as part of his show. He's got a traveling carnival. He's going to hire Jonah as like sharpshooter, like an Annie Oakley, and he's going to his what does he say over here? And that cute little squaw of yours, she would come in handy too. A little sexy gold lame costume. They're trying to make you into some sort of clown. Don't get yourself riled, boy. If an arm to fill our bellies tonight, we best get back to hunting before. So he doesn't even answer. So this traveling circus wants to hire Jonah to be a sharpshooter. He's going to put him in this silly costume. He's going to put Jonah's wife into a gold bikini. And the writer, whom Jonah struck up a friendship with in his old age, he's getting a little soft. He's hanging out with this guy. And this guy's getting, Jonah, this guy's going to make you into a clown. He's, and Jonah's just like, let's get back to hunt. He doesn't even entertain it. He just doesn't even entertain it. And the other guy's like, I told you it wouldn't work because you were right, Simon, but I'm not licked yet. I'll get Jonah Hex to be my Wild West review show one way or another. Incandescent colors versus opaque colors. Okay. Am I mistaken? If I'm mistaken, that's cool. It depends on whether you talk about reflection generation or absorption color-wise. Again, if I'm mistaken, let me know. I'm not above learning, above book. Just look at these masterful panels. So they're going out hunting and they come home, and what do they do? We got your woman, Hex. You want her back? You're gonna have to come take her from us, George Barrow. It's just, and I love this reaction. So they walk in, they see the doors open, the place is a mess, and they find a note. Jonah finds the note, and the writer says, "What is it?" And what is Jonah's response? Greatest line in comic history, right here. It's a suicide note. Boy, suicide note. Ip and I have ever seen one. It's a suicide note. I love that. I love that. You mean Tolbert committed? No, boy. I mean George. I'm laughing because this is just great dialogue. So the writer goes, "You mean Tolbert committed suicide?" No, boy. I mean George Barrow gang. They committed suicide. So they are. So the George Barrow gang is the guys that Jonah was hunting at the beginning. That's not the review show. I got a little mixed up. So the people that Jonah was hunting at the beginning, he caught like half the gang. So these are the surviving members of the gang. They got Tolbert, and just cowboying it up over here. I can't look at that without thinking of Blazing Saddles over there. And they're just saying, "Is this smart? What do we do?" He's like, "We got guards posting up. Jonah can't get anywhere." So as they're talking, we got guards posted up. Jonah can't get in. Look at that. Look at that. It's just like a monster coming up. Old gray-haired old Jonah with the crazy eye with the dagger in his hand. When he comes up here, we'll be ready for him. Quietly stabs this guy. Look, he stabs him right in the stomach. Fuck. Just look at that. And as soon as our lookout sees him coming, just get into ambush position and shoot his teeth out. Because so they're just like, "Hey, Luke, what you doing down here? You're watching up here." "Yeah, I know. I just thought I'd come down for a quick cup of coffee." You know who that is. You know who that is. It's George. That didn't sound like Luke's voice. It sure didn't. Looks like I underestimated that wily old man. Go on. Because what? You're not. Who are you? Okay, look at this. It's the writer. So the writer's doing something brave. He goes, "Who in blazes you?" "That's it, boy. You're doing fine. Just don't, So Jonah's up there. What do they call that? Dry gulching. And look at the corpse. It's just laying next to him. This is 1978. At this point, like Wonder Woman's hanging out with goofy bird aliens, and Green Lantern's talking to the, cheaps, and Superman's hanging out with Mixoplex. And over here, Jonah Hex is murdering people, right? Stabbing them right in the belly, just. He's like, "What are you doing? Please don't shoot me. I'll explain everything. I'm only here." Boom, boom. And then Jonah just starts murdering. It's murdering time. Ben Grimm's got its clobbering time. Jonah Hex got its murdering time. So boom, boom, boom. Look at this. "Are you okay, tall bird?" "Yeah, I'm all right." They did not. Did we finish the sentence? Do you know what he didn't? He goes, "Wait, look, one of White Eyes. He escapes." Huh? And Jonah just shoots. No, not Jonah. The writer just goes to shoot him right in the back. What happened? While the shooting, it's George Barrow, Jonah. All of a sudden, he dived into that bush and escaped. You must have only wounded him. So this writer now, he's stepping up. He had no problems with shooting this guy in the back. But I could only imagine this New York writer, genteel man. Now he's hanging out with Jonah Hex. Jonah Hex is a killer. I'm not gonna say a murderer, but he's a killer. And he's fierce. But Jonah is also like fiercely loyal. nobody's going to touch his woman. Once he makes friends with you, he in the last issue that I read, Jonah Hex number 12, Jonah Hex crossed a couple of states to help a friend who went missing. You know, Jonah is honor personified. So it's rubbing off on this writer, and this writer's like, oh yeah, you know, we got to deal with this. He goes, I tried to stop him, but I missed. Don't feel bad, boy. It's me that ought to be ashamed of himself. These tired old lies just ain't what they used to be. Look, this is like a kinder, older, dare I say, like gentler Jonah Hex, you know. Meanwhile, we can't hunt for him in the dark. Tall bird, you better go on home. Me and the boy will carry these dead owl hoots into Cheyenne. Be careful, my proud warrior. These are evil spirits afoot, and I can hear them whispering in the winter wind. You know, Jonah loves the ladies, and the ladies love Jonah. So got the horses, you know, he's got to get the bounties on them, because remember, these guys, they have bounties on them. And what do we got? We got George Barrow over here. You sure really feisty old bud. You'll be meeting up with me a whole lot sooner than you think. Now, I'll address all the chats. I just wanted to get that little scene done. So what do we got? Okay, we got Student OG. Hey, chat, how you doing? I love the Shadow. I love the Shadow. Shadow was I think one of my father's. I think one of my father's favorite characters. That sentence was difficult for me to say. That is Brave of the Distraction. Absolutely. This character has transformed after meeting Jonah Hex. You know, for the better. I would say so. That's the year I was born. You were born in 1904? Wow, you look good for a guy who was born in 1904. Whitey. I love cowboy stuff. I got the entire Six Gun series. I'm about to start reading. So I don't know Six Gun. What's Six Gun? Sounds cool. Again, I'm more into Westerns than I've ever been. I do love me some cowboy movies, comics, not so much. I do have an old beat-up Rawhide comic that I love. Yeah, this to me is a true Western story. This comic could be transferred into a movie. Just use this as a storybook. A lot of the Marvel Westerns were comic booky versions of Westerns. You know what I mean? Like this Michael Fleischer, I think, could have just turned this into a novel. Like, you know, just a little bit more writing, because comic books and novels are different. But I think to take like a Rawhide Kid or a Two Gun Kid or the Marvel, I think you would have to really rework it to make it into a movie or a novel. But this is just awesome. This is not written for little kids. This is written for, like, you know, men who fought in the wars and stuff. It's just awesome. I don't think modern entertainment understands Westerns. The stories are so good. Yep. Oh, I knew you were born in 78. I was just busting your chops. So what do you think's going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? So just like The Wild Bunch, which is also one of my favorite Westerns of all time, Sam Peckinpah, Ernest Borgnine, William Holden, The Wild Bunch, cars are now coming into the West, you know. So the following morning, I figure you earned yourself half the latest reward money, boy, as soon as, Joe, look, it's one of those 3-horsepower Oldsmobiles. That's right. You certainly know your automobiles. He goes, go ahead, enjoy yourself. I'll head on over the soon, washing some dust out. He goes, not me. I only risk my neck when I get paid for it. You know, so he doesn't trust the cars, you know. All right. And he goes driving around. They even look ridiculous. So here's Jonah pontificating. Old man, get off my lawn. This is the way I am about video games. Whenever I say anything about video games, people get so mad. Not a fan of video games. What do you want me to say? I'm sorry. They even look ridiculous. I swear, if they could get people to shell out good money for these noisy contraptions, a man could probably make himself $1 million peddling igloos to Eskimos. And he walks to the bar, whiskey. So Jonah don't like the cars. Jonah don't like the cars. I have a cowboy grindhouse script that I hope to make one day. Cool. I have a cowboy horror script. You know, it's when I started writing it a couple of years ago, I thought I was inventing weird Westerns. Now I see that weird Westerns are all the rage. I still think it's a good script. It's I don't want to give it away, but it's nothing like Heroic Tales, although it will be set in the same world. I don't want to say all, but most of my comics will be set in the same world. But this Western is obviously in the past, and it's extremely violent, and yes, violent and graphically violent. It's a horror, you know. So it won't be an all ages comic if I ever get a chance to make it. Six Gun is a very successful indie comic series that's been around for a while. Cool. I again, I don't claim to know everything, and I love when people start addressing each other and being polite and talking and hanging out like friends. Like this, this is a proxy for the comic book room. Like we're hanging out in the back of the comic book store talking. Look at this panel. Look at this panel. It's like a photograph. I'm sure there's like photo references in this. This is just so good. And what does Jonah do? He's playing cards with them. He's sitting there playing cards. He's embarrassed. He's taking out his glasses. And you'll play, old timer. Preston here just bumped you $10. Sorry, holding up the turn, gents. And who shows up? What do you think? George Barrow. So Jonah's got his glasses off, taken by surprise, and just smashed in the face and shotgunned. Boom. Boom. And what do we have here? Get me the chief. So now modern police showing up and guys running outside. What's he saying? Haha, I did it. I killed Jonah Hex. And then the police shows, oh, you shot Jonah Hex? The police shotguns him. Boom. And now this guy's, oh no. That the writer. And what's he say? Better help me off this floor, boy. It's cold. Don't worry, Jonah. We'll get you a blanket, Will. It ain't no earthly use, boy. Your friend's passed on. Hey, mister, is that really Jonah Hex, the gunfighter? My grandparents told me lots of stories about him. Told me and my brother maybe have one of his 6 guns. Can me and my brother have one of his 6 guns for a keepsake? And, the guy's like, look I got a button off his coat. I got a button. And he's like kicking the kids. You little vultures, stay away from here. And he's just carrying Jonah home. So, yes, Jonah's dead. This is the death of Jonah Hex. Brings her home to look at Jonah's wife. Look at Jonah's wife. You can see why he was staying, and look at her. Jonah's dead. He goes, do not speak of him. Don't speak of this. There's too many ghosts. I'm going to lay him down in the bed. We're going to, just have a tribute. We'll bury him in the morning. And then the Carney folks show up. And he's like, give us the body. We're going to stuff him and we're going to put him on display. And the writer's like, no, you rotten. Boom. Dead. And what do we have here? Look at this woman over here. Boom. They just kick her. Yeah, pussycat, we will get on with the time moments later. So, we got the body. We got Jonah's body. We're going to stuff it. You ever heard of taxidermy? And then they cut back Jonah's house with his wife and his only friend just burning down. It's like the saddest thing in the world. So what do? Monarch Taxidermy Studios. They just got Jonah Hex, put him in this silly costume, and put him on display. Man, I mean, this is a DC comic. This is a pre-crisis DC comic, But this is Larry Hama. He allowed this to go. Jonah Hex, the Old West's greatest bounty hunter. Now, does anybody know? Did they do this? Is this something I don't know anything about? Did they really taxidermy human beings and put them on display, or is Michael Fleischer just a maniac to think of such? I don't know. I can't think of anything more debasing. I am getting emotional. This is just such a good comic. Look at that, and I love it. So, stupid idiot is fixing the gun. He's fixing the gun in Jonah's hand, and as he's pushing the gun into his hand, boom, he shoots himself in the face. He's like, oh my God, I feel horrible. But he's like, look, that's only going to increase the mystique. Jonah Hex is still killing people even after he's dead. So there you go. People come in. See the highlighted extra Jonah Hex bounty hunter. The gun. Gosh, is that really the greatest bounty hunter? That's what the sign says. He was the greatest, Dad. Who was the second greatest? You got me there. So now they're just gawking at him, counting up the money, and like, you make it a killing. You gotta help us, boom. So they kill him. They want more money, they're robbing him and taking the money, and they leave. That's the end of the carnival. So Jonah Hex's body just gets sold into a curio shop with this wooden Indian. And then when the curio shop years later, the owners go out of business. They just toss him into the back. And now here he is. Just somebody found his body in a modern, this is the 70s. They just have this taxidermy decaying Jonah Hex, just out in the rain that they found in the garbage someplace. Ah, man, what a freaking story. What a freaking story. Oh, my God. Yeah, in order to do my Western, I have to find somebody who wants to, and can draw horses. That's funny because everybody I asked said, nope. Damn brutal panel. Yeah, brutal comic. Brutal comic. Man, that Bronze Star by Mac Barrett earlier this year was a fantastic, weird Western. Yep. Bronze Star was fun, and I love Wrath of God. Yeah, it's such good Western stuff. Apparently, there has been human taxidermy. Oh, more horrors every day. Every day, I learn about horrors. Like I haven't, that I know that in Iceland they would skin enemies and take their legs and make pants. They called them sorcerer's pants. So there would be shaman that wore the skin as leather of their enemies. And forget about the Aztecs. Oh, man. Are we there? Somebody, I'm using my phone and somebody just called me. So I think I have to do this. I'm so sorry about that. Somebody just called me during this. I don't know who it was. Why can't I get here anymore? Enter the studio. Hi, I'm John. There we go. And now it's crazy again. I'll be quiet for a second. Okay, there we go. Sorry about all that. It's all potential scams whenever people call me. Potential spam. Do not adjust your television. I know. I'm sorry about all that. I'm sorry if I ruined your ears. But I just love this. I just love this maniac, Michael Fleischer, who just, look at this ignoble mockery death. First off, his wife is just kicked in the face. And what, is she burnt alive in the house? They don't show her actually being killed. They show Jonah Hex being taxidermied over here. Just look at that. Brought out here in the ridiculous, it's supposed to be a ridiculous costume. And then I just love this. The stupid idiot puts a live gun in his hand and shoots himself. It's just like a great touch that Jonah gets one more kill from beyond the grave. You know what I mean? And then it's like, oh, perfect. That just shows you how deadly Jonah Hex is. And, people are, wow, look at this. It's just a curiosity that didn't, like the Griswolds looking at the Grand Canyon. And then, of course, his own greed does him in. And then the whole the whole carnival just goes bankrupt. And Jonah Hex, it says, the stuffed corpse of Jonah Hex underwent a strange odyssey after that. 1923, it lay in the back room of a musty old antique shop. Went out of business in 1949. Its contents were consigned to a dingy warehouse in downtown Detroit. Jonah lay there unnoticed till 1972 when he was purchased by an enterprising businessman, repaired, repainted, and installed in part of a Wild West decor at the Westworld Amusement Park in the outskirts of New York City. Is that a real man, Mommy? Of course not, Tom. Darling, he's only a dummy. You've probably seen the commercials for that park on television. Take that, bad man, bang, bang. We better get into the car. It's starting to rain. Before you turn the page, stop and say goodbye to him. Jonah Hex, born 1839, died 1904. Just awesome. Just an awesome comic. The Batlash story is good. Denny O'Neil, George Molinari, Larry Hama. But I don't want to go into the Batlash. It's just guy just trying to get laid. That's all he is. And then he finds out that the Chinese girl that he likes is being sold into slavery, and he's going to go. It's not that he's a good guy. It's just that he wants to get her, and then he gets her, gets some lovin' dovin', and then brings her back to the family. Then we got Scalp Hunter, this Indian fighting other Indians. How blasphemous is that? Because we all know that Indians are saints and they never did anything wrong. But that's the story of Jonah Hex. That's the last Jonah Hex story. Although they did do a Hex series with Keith Giffen where he's in the future fighting like robots and scientific zombies, stuff like that. But and he didn't have any superpowers. If you saw the Jonah Hex TV movie, he didn't have superpowers. Although they gave him a cool one that he could like force the dead to give up their secrets, which is a really cool power. But it's not Jonah Hex. There's nothing supernatural. I read the whole Jimmy Palmiotti, Justin Gray series. There was nothing supernatural ever in it. And then now back to the original one, which was written by Michael Fleischer. There's nothing supernatural. It's just a straight out Western, and he's got a scarf on his face. So there you go. So that's how Jonah Hex got to modern DC. He was taxidermy. Yep. So there you go. That's Jonah Hex. I'm sorry about Kelsey, but like I said, he's got an illness in his family that he's trying to deal with. So we will read one comic sporadically is the best word. So who knows when we'll get back to it. I'd like to do it next week, but that's up to Kelsey. He's got a situation that he's dealing with, and I'd like to do. We're going to do the Secret Wars, Marvel Secret Wars, the first couple of issues. So I don't know if Kelsey even read them yet or not. But there you go. He's got a lot of work. He in the description I put a link to him and Mike Barron are doing Nexus the Scourge. And without coffee, I am just ready to go to bed. So thanks a lot. And anybody want to say anything? Anybody want to bring anything up? But this was I thought this was a phenomenal comic. I recommend it to anybody. The other stories are good too. Larry Hama, the editor, had an eye for talent and an eye for good stories. So there you go. 42 minutes. I'm sorry it's not longer. I apologize about Kelsey, but life gets in the way, and the older you get, the more life gets in the way. So thanks a lot. Hey, Shadowpunk's here. Shadowpunk. I was just finishing up. I was wrapping it up. I finished up the Jonah Hex story. Good to see you. Secret War starts out kind of weak, but it finishes up. Yeah. I love that because it'll give us a curve. Everybody loves Secret Wars. The first Secret Wars was just a fun comic. I can't wait because Kelsey didn't read it yet, or maybe he read the first couple of issues because he only canceled a couple hours ago. So it's gonna be fun to explore it with him. And I just enjoyed hanging out with Kelsey, and I really enjoyed that he's a professional comic artist and he has insights that I never would have gotten in a million years. Zek is supreme. Yeah, Zek is supreme. But here we go. I'm sorry if anybody came in here and they're disappointed just seeing my ugly face. I can totally understand. And I will reschedule the Two Beards, One Comic with Secret Wars. And tomorrow, while I got 47 people watching, wow, 47 people. Thank you so much. Tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, it's clobbering time. And we're going to talk about who would win, Batman or Moon Knight. And I love, comic book beat 'em ups. I love that stuff. I love that we did it last Saturday, and it was just a fun exploration of comic book characters. But I'd like to do it a little bit more formatted, a little bit more structured. Of course, I'll put the link in. Anybody could jump in, pick your camp, pick who your boy is. But I think we'll make a couple of categories, like who's a better character, who's a better fighter, who's smarter, things like that, who has better exterior. And come with examples. And to be fair, come with examples of their failures too. Let's talk about the characters. So I think it would be fun to explore it's clobbering time, like from a multifaceted angle, not just who would win in a fight like when we were 12 years old, as fun as that is. I think it would also be to explore the characters themselves, their flaws, their weaknesses, their strengths, their high points, their low points, and then at the end we'll take a poll in the chat and we'll see who's the winner. How's that? Does that sound fun? Okay, so that's tomorrow at 8 p.m. And anybody's welcome to join in. Anybody's welcome to join in. Okay, so let's. Oh, I got some more. I know the answer to that one. Might be obvious, might not be obvious. And it's personal. If you disagree, we disagree. It's fun. I should have asked Shooter so many things. So many. Marcus, does he want to come back? Marcus just spoke with Jim Shooter at Heroes Con. We got Perth Waven. I'll wave back. Batman versus Moon Knight is the most lopsided fight in comic. Well, come back tomorrow and state your case. Come back tomorrow. And then I think at the end it would be fun to, speculate on the next It's Clobbering Time. Yeah, it would be great to have issue numbers to reference to see how things play. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. I came up with the idea of It's Clobbering Time, and I did it prematurely because Matt Barrett was having a bad night. And he just said, John, let's go live and talk about comics. I need to just talk about comics. And I was like, you don't have to convince me to talk about comics. My wife is happy that I'm talking with other people about comics instead of upstairs boring her to tears. Oh, great. Tell him to check his email. But thanks a lot, everybody. I'm going to have my dinner and go to bed early. Today was super hot in New York, super humid. And I told you yesterday I was on top of the trailers running wires. Well, today we were landing the wires and splicing them in. It's just direct sunlight all day long. I lost 6 pounds this week. It's just brutal. It's that time of the year. You might actually see me get gaunter and gaunter as the summer goes on. I'll put on my winter fat. Don't worry about that. But thanks a lot, everybody. I'm gonna get going. All right. Bye-bye. I gotta end the stream first. If I just